Arsenal 6, Sheffield United 0. Hit the like button, people. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace. Check out our brand new channel and our brand new podcast, The Squad. You can scan the QR code on the screen or click on the top link in our description below. Me and one of the biggest YouTubers in the world are teaming together to launch a brand new football podcast. It's going to be amazing. Never seen before. Go and check that out. And to top off a brilliant weekend, well, I say brilliant. I'm a Man United fan, so it was a pretty awful weekend. But from a neutral standpoint, a brilliant weekend of Premier League football. And Arsenal are unstoppable. They're incredible. The football is liquid gold. The cutting-edge nature of this team, the clinical edge that they have found at the turn of this year, as people like myself predicted, I very much felt they spent the first half of this season playing with more control in a slightly more reserved nature to give themselves energy to keep their legs as we get to the middle and back end of what is a marathon and not a sprint. And they've really let the handbrake off in recent weeks. Top goal scorers in the league, as you can see now, with 68 goals, the best goal difference in the league at plus 45, the best defense in the league. And that is now 7 wins on the bounce for Arsenal. That is 30 goals scored in those 7 games. And the most staggering statistic, the most sobering piece of factual information that I think gives them such a great chance in this title race is just 7 shots on target conceded in those games. It isn't just the clean sheets, the goals, the control. 7 shots on target in their last 7 games conceded. This is ridiculous. The first team ever to score 5 goals. We're leading 5-0, in the first half. This is a phenomenal side. And you will have people that will say, it's just Sheffield United. You'll have individuals that will say, but they're only beating small teams. They're only beating struggling teams. That does not tell the full picture of the past 7 games. In those 7 matches, when you look at them, they're on the back of 3 games without a win, a draw and 2 defeats. The pressure was upon them. They first of all beat Crystal Palace 5-0, and it was a very good performance. A lot of the goals came late on. They really got going. Then went away to Nottingham Forest, who have given a lot of teams a lot of hard games this season. Ask Man United. Ask Manchester City, who drew there. Ask Liverpool, who snatched it at the death. Very difficult place to go. They then outclassed and beat Liverpool and scored 3 goals against them. Battered West Ham 6-0 away from home, a team that had already beaten them twice this campaign, and one of the teams that stopped them from winning the Premier League last year. The next game, Burnley, yes, okay, not a very good team at the minute, the same as tonight, Sheffield United, but they still had to come and get the points. They still had to go and get the goals. And do you know what I watched as a neutral tonight? Or not even as a neutral, as a rival. These are the games up until maybe the start of last season where Arsenal could get bullied. Arsenal could get intimidated. Arsenal could be not outclassed technically within football, but outmuscled, outworked, and just sort of shy away, a shrinking violet, skulk off into the shadows. But this team has so much quality, so much fight. It has men in it. It's a team of men with high technical ability, a brilliant system created by Mikel Arteta. They are deadly. And of course, in between that, they smashed 4 at home past Newcastle, who themselves are not in bad form right now. So there's a bit of a lie. Of course, there's a lie going around about Arsenal that all the teams they've beaten recently, they should have done. And the amount of goals they've scored is normal. But it isn't normal. The records that Arsenal are breaking on this run are abnormal. Therefore, to brush it aside as merely a little bit of luck in terms of who they're playing and when is it's intellectually dishonest, disingenuous, and a complete and utter farce of an opinion. This Arsenal team, in my view, it is so marginal between them, City, and Liverpool for the title this year. But the one area, and I'm not focusing on the goals, the area that gives Arsenal the biggest chance possible of lifting their first Premier League in 20 years, Arteta's first Premier League, and becoming English champions, is their defense. The goals, yes, amazing. The creativity, sensational. The liquid football, brilliant. But it's the lack of opportunities that they concede. The lack of opportunities they don't afford their rivals. And one of the teams they played recently was Liverpool. Newcastle, not a bad attacking team, limited them to almost nothing. Almost nothing. Almost nothing. That area is where Arsenal can win the league. It's why I think they're such an incredible team. And interestingly, look, do they want to go out in the summer and buy that prolific goal scorer, which was a dominating point on many of our shows this season? Yes. But currently, after 27 games, this is the most goals Arsenal have ever scored in their Premier League history. And think of the great Arsenal teams that came before this one. One of the best defensive records they've ever had, the best goal scoring record they've ever had. I'm not saying they shouldn't add more goals to it, but this is a dangerous, scary, potent team. And I was thinking about this during the games. My brother went out. He watched the first 25 minutes, and he just said this to me as he left. Now, my brother, to paint you this light, is an Orient fan. And it left me with a thought that I pondered over during this game. He just said the Arsenal are the real deal. And I thought, what does that mean to me, listening to it? They're the real deal. They're title contenders. But they're going to be title contenders this year, next year, and most likely the year after that. I know there is this big question mark over what if Arteta doesn't win the league? And we've always said context applies. Yes, if there was an almighty collapse from now and they scrape fourth or come fifth, get knocked out by Porto, it's a different conversation. But that's not going to happen. They may not win the league, but they're not going to be far off of it. This Arsenal team is legit. They're the real deal. And they are going to be up near the top of this league table for the foreseeable future. And if they keep adding quality, if some of their young players keep getting better, they, in my opinion, will win major trophies. They really will. And that isn't because they've beaten Sheffield United 6-0. It isn't because they put 5 past Burnley. It's everything over the last 2 years. The thing that stands out the most to me, which has nothing to do with the opponents they're up against, because they've been hard to progress the ball against all year, it's the lack of opportunities they concede. It's astronomical. The last time I felt I saw a defense this good, this airtight, was Jose Mourinho's Chelsea in 03, 04, 04, 05. They conceded less goals, but it was similar in terms of that. But that was a little older, more experienced team. This Arsenal side, I still think, has got levels that it can grow into. Absolutely phenomenal tonight. From the first minute, killed them off. I would say the only sour element tonight would be Martinelli limping off. Because, of course, you know, he's such an integral. I know Don thinks that Mahalo Mudryk is better, but integral to their team. But they took him off as a precaution. Other performances tonight individually, Martin Odegaard got man of the match from Sky. I understand why. He dictated the play. Another big game performance from him. And remember what Standard FC said. Big games are not always about playing big teams. It's a circumstance. Liverpool and City won. Therefore, it's a big game. And he delivered. I also think he got taken off at halftime, but I thought Bukayo Saka was dangerous. Ben White got his goal. Very, very solid in terms of his performance today. Listen, Gabriel Saliba, Declan Rice, again, with 8 out of 10 performances, didn't put a foot wrong. So strong, so powerful, so brilliant on the ball. But I really wanted to shout out Kai Havertz tonight. For me, he was my man of the match. I thought he's run off the shoulder. He caused the back line of Sheffield United no end of problems. Scored a fantastic strike, an excellent assist as well for Ben White. And I just thought that Kai Havertz is not only settling at Arsenal now and starting to be more potent, and the output is coming, but he's starting to look more and more like that player that we all saw in the Bundesliga. The player that Liverpool fans, Chelsea fans, United fans wanted 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not saying he's quite back at that level yet, but you're just starting to see those glimpses, the confidence returning to this man. And if he keeps improving from this point, what a masterstroke piece of business that could be. Taking a maligned player away from a rival who was despised by about 75%, not Johnny Minerals, of course, but 75% of his fan base at Chelsea. It was a deal that was laughed at by the majority of Premier League fans. If he keeps improving, if he keeps delivering, this could end up, even at £60 million, this could end up being a masterstroke piece of business. I'm only talking about it from the last. I thought his first couple of months, I thought it was pretty anonymous. I thought it was pretty poor, if I'm being honest. But I would say since the end of November, early December until now, Kai Havertz has been a thorn in many team sides, and the confidence is returning. So look, very, 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 very interesting in terms of watching his progression from this point. But look, Arsenal Football Club, your fans must be absolutely buzzing, over the moon, ecstatic with that performance tonight. I'd love to get your views. I'd love to get your opinions. I'm going to go to your super chats in a moment, but I want to end my sort of opening. I don't like calling it a monologue. It sounds a bit shit, but I suppose that's what it is, by saying this. Anyone who's writing this Arsenal team off as if they're just going to fade away in this title race, I think they are wrong. This is a far more mature, far more grown up, more potent, stronger, and almost impossible to penetrate Arsenal team compared to last year. They're going to be in this title race right until the very end. They have a very good chance of winning the league from this point. And look, City versus Liverpool this weekend. One of those two is dropping points. A huge opportunity for Arsenal to leapfrog one of them, maybe even both of them if there's a draw. And this goal difference could be absolutely massive as well. Do me a favor if you haven't done so already and give the like button a smash. As I've already mentioned, I have launched a brand new YouTube channel and a podcast coming with, honestly, the biggest YouTuber in the world. I'm so excited. Scan the QR code on my screen or click on the link below or in the live comment sections. Go and subscribe to it now. And a lot of you have clicked on it. Not all of you have subscribed, so go and do that for me. It would mean a great deal indeed. Let's go to some of your super chats that have come in here. I just want to timestamp this so that we know when it comes up. I ain't happy, bro. I wanted 7. Stop being greedy. Bright spots for Sheffield United is that they are the first at team in 8 halves to only give up 1 instead of 2. Come on, you gooners. Respect us or be a fraudulent football fan. I just don't see how people I just don't see how anybody couldn't respect Arsenal now after the way they're playing, the way they're performing, the way they're delivering. It makes zero sense to not respect this Arsenal team from this point. We all have to praise Arteta. Everyone here said he can't score goals without a striker. Of course they could. I didn't think it was that big a talking point in the summer, because I felt that between Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, Saka, and with Kai Havertz, you'd score enough goals because you didn't have a goal scoring issue last year. But then what we saw was Arsenal play more reserved. Arsenal didn't play with as much speed and as much vim. They're reserving energy. Still believe that. As soon as they've took the handbrake off, the goals are coming. There was a plan to this. He didn't just switch it on in January and say, all right, guys, start shooting now. He said, now play with a little bit more energy, I think. I won't lie, Tel. I've seen pray for Sheffield United trending on Twitter and got a bit worried the football gods will do us, but seems they enjoy our football. I'm going to say this now. There's more chance of ice not melting in hell than Arsenal dropping points to these low-level teams again. It will be a shock. Every now and then it will happen. But the teams that you see in the bottom 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you will seldom see Arsenal drop points to them. Seldom. It's done. Arsenal are not in that space anymore as a football team. Genuinely. Arsenal are getting into that realm that Liverpool and City typically sit in, where they're playing these teams and Rivals won't even be watching anymore. Rivals have tuned into these Arsenal games for the past 4, 5, 6 years because there was always a chance Arsenal were going to lose. They'll stop doing it soon, if not already. If not already, they'll switch off and go, I'm putting EastEnders on. Pray for the football gods for City and Liverpool to draw. One game down and on to the next. Stay humble, Gunners, is what Gunner Be All Right says. Kai has been outstanding. His confidence has grown. It is quite evident. Fan or not, he's you have to give him props for the ruthless attitude. For 2 seasons, I thoroughly enjoyed watching them. Yeah, Arsenal have looked great the last year or so, haven't they? There's no doubt. December 2019, Freddie was the interim. City came to the Emirates 3-0 up in 30 minutes. I remember thinking they could score more, but they felt sorry for us 4+ years later, and now we're one of the sides doing that to others. Shows how quickly it can turn around. And it was only 2+ years ago that you were still a very vulnerable team. It shows how quickly things can turn around with the right manager, the right players, and the right culture at your club. And, of course, investment. So we beat City and Paul this year, but somehow the narrative is we're only beating small teams. That's that Arsenal hate that we know exists. Haters are going to cry. This time we'll win this season, is what Starboy Saka says. I'd love to get the panel sent you a DM on Twitter. All right, my friend. Thank you. Chelsea do kill players. KDB, Mo, and now Kai Havertz. I just wish Mount was delivering. Liverpool beat Forest 1-0 in the 99th minute. We pummel schoolboy sides by 5 or 6 levels. Win, and deliver in the Premier League and EFL Cups. I would love to win the league on the last day. I'll be honest with you, I want Arsenal, out of the 3 that can win it, I want Arsenal winning it first, then Liverpool, then City. That would be my order. If Arsenal are going to do it, I just don't want you to do it at Old Trafford. I'm going to be honest with you. As much as I want you guys to stop this 4-peat because my club can't do it for me, I don't want it to be at Old Trafford. As much as I'll praise you, I still don't want to see it. It's still, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to see that because that will proper hurt, mate. It will. I mean, even when I watch you guys, if I'm being honest, I watch you and I feel pain. I genuinely feel pain and jealousy and envy. I'm just fortunate that as I've matured as a man, my envy and jealousy doesn't come out of me in anger. I can just praise it and say, oh, it's great. And then typically speaking, it just makes me feel a lot better about myself. But there we go. I'm going to get the panel out now. We've got Man Like Souls. We've got Matt. We've got Saad. We've got Nathan coming on to have their say on the show. Deo, I'm going to send you the link as well, my bro. I've sent that to you on... I just realized who you are. I'm going to send that to you on Twitter. And I should remember who everybody is. But I do... There's like 8,000 people tuning in. It's hard to remember who everybody is. Gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Gunner Souls, another game, more goals, no shots conceded on target. Talk to me.
Standard procedure, just another game, just the Arsenal way. That's just what it is now. I don't know what the hell Arteta got fed in Dubai, but keep it coming. That man can get fed meat every week if this is what he's producing.
Pause.
No, we're not children here, fam. They know what we're talking about. Yeah. Another 6. What are we doing here? We're just breaking records for the fun of it. Do you know what the most impressive? Do you know what the best thing about this is? The amount of pressure on Liverpool and City, because they have to win. They can't go into that game saying, yeah, we'll take a draw. They have to beat each other. They have to win. City have to go to the Anfield and go, we have to beat this team. We can't go off a draw, even though they're going to play us. They're worried. They're 100% worried. Their fans, yeah, any stream I've been on, they're losing their heads. They seem to be calm, right, in presence, but they're losing their heads. They know this is the side that can beat them at the Etihad. They know this is the side that can potentially go and win the league. This is what we've been asking for. When we said it at the beginning of the season, when we said there is a reserve side to us, we wanted to see whether this team can come out again. People said, Kai Havertz, right, my baller, my absolute baller, right? This guy has destroyed Arsenal. This guy is cooking with Arsenal. Have you seen these last few games? Gabriel Jesus is injured. Man stands on business. He said, I'm going to break every record Arsenal have. Back-to-back goals with 5 more goals. This guy has been the striker. And people want to cuss his name. Chelsea fans are still not accepting the fact he's a good player. It's fine. Keep hating. Keep mentioning his name. The man is delivering. Odegaard, people wanted to banter him and say he's not the captain. He doesn't step up. Who steps up every single time we need him? Odegaard. Stacker back in his stride. Martinelli getting a lot of slack this season. Look at what he's producing now. Declan Rice. I say it and I'll say it again. £105 million bargain. You will never hear £100 million player in the same sentence as bargain. But this guy is the bargain of the summer. At £105 million, he will deliver that league title. This is what
we don't even hear the price tag anymore.
No, you don't. Do you see Havertz price tag has gone out the window. Declan Rice's price tag has been gone out the window. All these wages, Kai Havertz's wages is out the window. All of the money that we've paid for these players, no one wants to mention it anymore because we're cooking. We're in form. Every team is terrified of Arsenal because they know the possibility is this team can deliver the league. Have you seen it? With 6 goal difference ahead of Liverpool, 10 against City, and they're yet to play. We've got to play City. If they draw and we win, we're top of the league. The league is ours to lose. And that's the most phenomenal thing about it because the amount of pressure this puts on all of the rivals in terms of Liverpool and Man City to deliver, it's amazing. And that's what I think is the incredible thing about it.
I Saad, obviously, I know you played it down a little bit earlier on tonight, but just another incredible goal-scoring night for Arsenal. Clinical, incisive, emphatic. You must be very proud of the way your team's delivering right now.
I am beyond proud. If I could say one thing right now, I fucking love this club, man. I love this club. I love the manager. I love the players. Everything about Arsenal right now, I love it, man. I absolutely love it. And they could not be making me more proud right now than how they're doing, fighting until the very end. These men are still fighting for tackles. It's 5-0, bro. It's 5-0. And they're still fighting for tackles. 6-0. And they're still fighting for tackles like as if it's 1-0 and they could lose the game. Yeah, bro, he's pissed off. I love that. My manager is pissed off because the ball went out of the pitch when they could have kept it in and kept it in possession and kept on going for goal. Yeah, bro, I'm in love with this club, man. Odegaard, spectacular. Kai Havertz, amazing today. Amazing. The first touch, the passes, the intricate plays with him and Odegaard and everybody. He was just bringing everybody into the game. This is a different Havertz to the one that I saw when he first came into the club. No confidence. He was a lost player on the pitch. Barely got touches in the midfield. Barely got touches of the ball. Tried to hide away from the ball. This is a different player that we were seeing today. Odegaard, a maestro. The word maestro, if you look it up in the dictionary, it's got Odegaard's picture right there. Because that's what he is. He's a maestro. He's all over the pitch. He's literally there to just like a puppet master. He's got everybody on the little puppet things, and then that's it on the strings, and then he tells them what to do. Bang! He literally amazing. Georgie, amazing, bro. This guy, I thought, you know what? This guy, I don't think he could do it game after game after game. I don't think he's got the legs. He proved me wrong. And I put my hands up. I should have never doubted Jorginho. Experienced player, been there, done it, worn the t-shirt, and he's showing it for us. If you want a consistent performance, he'll go out there and he'll put it away for you. He'll put that performance in. Saka, Martinelli, absolutely terrific. Declan Rice, they've already said enough about him. Freaking bargain. The back line, Kivior doing things that we didn't even think he was. Bro, after I watched that game against PSV away, I was like, this guy's finished. Bro, they just ended his career. And he completely turned around, done a 180 and said, no. I think I'm done. I've got levels to go. Bro, my whole team, Benny Blanco with a goal. My whole team is just making me so gassed. And do you know what the best thing is, I'll tell you what the best thing is. The rivals, the pundits, the tears, bro, and all the hatred that we get, I love it. I eat off of this. I feed off of this. This is what fuels me every single day. When people say, oh, it's just a shit team. Are you supposed to beat them? Well, why didn't you go beat them? Why did you not go beat them? Why are Tottenham fans coming here and telling me, oh, you're supposed to be beating those teams? Well, guess what? I smacked Crystal Palace at home while you were sitting there until the very last minute, bro. Then you started getting your little shooting boots on, bro. I went to smack teams while Man City struggled against them. I went to smack teams while Liverpool are struggling against them. My team is killing people right now. Killing teams. It's crazy, man. I couldn't be more proud, man. I feel like we are genuinely so close to having our Arsenal back. Because, like you said before, this is a very young team. They have levels to go to. They're all young. They haven't even reached their prime years yet. So, bro, I'm gassed. What can I say? I'm happy, man.
I bet you are. Nave, how about yourself, mate? And every week you come on, that smile gets bigger and bigger. It's good to see you, brother.
Yeah, man. Like, that was controlled. That was complete domination. That was lovely to see, man. It was. It looked like a lot of things that you were saying before. I mean, the beginning of the season was a lot slower. It was more reserved. We were kind of just controlling games. There wasn't as much fluidity. People finding their feet, and all of a sudden now, after this Dubai break, everything just seems to have clicked. Players are growing. You got Kai Havertz, who looks, I think, like Saad just touched on it, a different player to what he was before. You know, his finish for the first goal was clinical, and it's not necessarily a word that we've associated with Kai Havertz in his tenure at, you know, either Chelsea or even in an Arsenal shirt. And then obviously even for the Ben White goal, the touch to bring down that Jorginho pass was class, and then obviously the pass back to White, and overall it's the football is just scintillating and beautiful to watch. I mean, I'm loving the little tweaks the manager's made. I think he's put Odegaard in like this new role, playing a little bit deeper and orchestrating and then moving forward. And I think for a lot of times I've seen a lot of like discourse and things on various channels and whatnot about Odegaard, Bruno, Maddison, KDB. And I think he's been misprofiled for a significant period of time, because I don't think he's very much like those players. Because for me, those are players that excel in the final third, right? Those are players that are outlet machines. Whereas for me, I look at Martin Odegaard more of a David Silva, right? He's more of a player who can help with build up, who can control the game, the way he glides across the pitch, like the footwork, the nutmegs, deft touches. That is very much reminiscent of what a David Silva was. He's not really a player that you put him in a final third and expect him to just create chance after chance after chance. So it's nice to see him being put into that role, help with the build-up. And I think since the manager's done that, there's been, we've kind of improved significantly. Another little improvement he's done is even with Kyrgios. I think in the Fulham game and whatnot, he was having him invert from left back, and he was struggling to do that. Whereas nowadays, the managers kind of looked at that situation and said, you know what, it's not really working. Let this player focus on the bare minimals of what he is. He's a defender, he's a centre-back. Let him focus on the defensive aspect of the game and just defend, not have to come into midfield. And since then, we've seen a better player. And that is, for me, an example of great management, because you're supposed to play to the strengths of your players and hide their weaknesses. And when Kyrgios was asked to invert, he was being found out. He was struggling. And ever since that change, we've seen a player grow from week to week and feel like he's a part of this Arsenal team. He deserves to be there. And like Saad said, at one stage, he was looking like, is he really a player long-term for Arsenal? Is he going to be someone that maybe we have to think about, what his position is come the summer? And, all of a sudden, those aren't questions that we're asking anymore. Saka today was different class. I mean, even the way he took the touch for his second assist with Ben White, the way he received that ball in a half turn. And it's just really nice, because I think even, again, Saka was really heavily criticised by us fans and even opposition fans in regards to him not being a two-way winger no more. He was being a bit more predictable. He was always cutting in on his left foot. Whereas twice this game, we've seen him go down the outside. And it's nice to see that, because obviously that gives defenders a lot more of a headache. Can't read him, and it then makes him harder to defend against and makes us a lot better. Arteta deserves so much credit. I mean, look, we as fans have been so critical about Saka not having a suitable replacement to alternate with him. 45 minutes in, game's done, 5-0 up. Manager takes them off with Brentford, looming, and obviously Porto as well on Tuesday. So it's just all in all, we're just seeing, everything kind of click, and we're seeing growth within the squad and the management, and even seeing Thomas Partey back tonight, and how comfortable he is in midfield, how press resistant he is, and this is a player that hasn't played since the last game he played was about a 15-minute cameo against Man City. Before that, I think it was Nottingham Forest, the Palace, I think, one of those games earlier on.
Yeah, and you know what's so interesting about him? If you can get him back, and over the next month get him match fit, having him available for the last 2 months of the season, he will be so fresh because he's barely kicked a ball. And he's such a good football player. I know it's a cliche, but it would be like a new signing. It's such a great player to get back as well. If Thomas Partey can get fit and stay fit, it just gives you so many more options in that midfield.
He does. And I think with him, his class has never really been something that Arsenal fans have questioned. I think when he's fit, he's up there as one of the best. The issue with him is availability is the best ability, and he's never available. Right, and that's, I think, the biggest gripe we've had as Arsenal fans over his tenure in an Arsenal shirt, especially considering when he signed from Atletico Madrid, he was a player who had no injury issues. He had a clean bill of health. Yeah,
no, I hear you completely, mate. Deo, you're joining us again, mate. Thanks for coming back on the show. Look, it's 5 and 6-0 every week. How long is it going to continue at Arsenal?
Till the end of the season. Every game after this. Man City 5-0. Let's go. Let's go. I mean, honestly, look, why not? Why not think that way anyways in the first place? And then if you go there and get a 1-1 draw, great. But you might as well go in there thinking, look, this is what we're going to do to you. Like, there's no point in going, if you're going to go into battle, go into battle, and that's what I like that the boys are doing now. I mean, if you look at how Arteta has set the team up, I looked at the lineup today when the lineup came out, and I was like, have us in the middle again. I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. But here we are killing teams, literally just destroying teams. Like in the first half, after 3-0, I was like, you know what? Game is over. I don't have to stress no more. Let me just go back to my meetings. And I had the game running, and I just went back to my meetings because I was that comfortable. Like that comfortable. So I'm not afraid of Man City or what they bring. Neither am I afraid of Liverpool and what they're going to bring as well. They're amazing teams. They have amazing players. They have 2 of the best coaches in the world. I mean, top 2 coaches in the world. I don't take anything away from them. But I refuse to believe that people keep saying things like, for example, Arsenal has to prove it. They have to prove it. Last year, they fell off. Last year, nobody even gave us the chance to be there in the first place. They said we're not going to make top 6. And the fact that we were pushing against Man City last year, now it's like, oh, if you don't win, then you're a failure. Now this year, they wanted the same rhetoric. I'm not buying that rhetoric. I don't buy into all those games. You didn't give me a chance last year, and then I got there, and then all of a sudden now you're saying, oh, and then this season you're like, well, Pep is the best coach, but if you don't win it, if Pep is the best coach, then why are you asking me to win it? All I know is my team is doing great, and my coach, this is probably going to be his I think his 5th year as a senior manager, 5 years experience. 5 years. Mikel Arteta has not been in the game for 10. He's not been in the game for 20. He's been there for 5 years. He literally was at Man City for 2 or 3 years as an assistant coach. And you have to ask yourself, why did Pep pick a player who was just retiring to be his assistant? Pep, the best coach at the time in the game, had multiple coaches worldwide, but picked that one guy. There's a reason. There's something that he saw in him. So we getting him back to come to Arsenal and do what he's done in this last 4 years, dude, I'm gassed. I am gassed. Like, if anybody tries to say, I've been saying this, like, last time I said it, remember I said this last time I was on, we're beating City. We're going to beat City. We don't have an option. If we want to win the league, we have to beat them. I don't care if they go and they draw with Liverpool, or if they go and they beat Liverpool, or if Liverpool beats them. Whatever the case is, we have to beat City to home and away this season if we want to stand a chance of winning the league. Because right now, this is the second time in the history of the Premier League that we've had 3 teams above 60 points in February. We've never had this. This is the second time. So you need to go back and look and realize that the only way for us to win this league this season, apart from all these blowing teams away, when we get to where City and Liverpool are, we just have to kill them.
Listen. I think you talk a lot of sense there in terms of having to beat them when you come up against them. Matt, when you look at Arsenal now, do you feel like you've joined the club when it comes to the way, typically speaking, City and Liverpool either dismantle or beat the smaller teams? Anyone that's sort of outside the sort of top 7, top 8, it seems like you've just got into that habit over the last 12 to 18 months of beating them. Now you're absolutely smashing them. You really are playing like one of the best teams in the world.
I just don't see us dropping any points. Like that City game is probably the only game that you could probably say potentially. But other than that, I don't see us dropping any points. And we've got Tottenham away and we've got Man United away. But I don't see us losing or even drawing in those games. I don't, because how we're playing is, it's just incredible. And this stat that I found absolutely crazy is that in 2024, Arsenal have scored more away goals than Man United's whole season in the Premier League. Like that's ridiculous.
Well, you've scored 31 goals. We've only scored in your last 7 games. We've only scored 37 goals all season.
Oh, well, that's false then. But I mean, still 31 goals is absolutely crazy, and considering that's away form, that's ridiculous.
I wouldn't compare yourself to us. We're rubbish. You want to compare yourself to proper teams, mate, right?
Fuck home games. Fuck home games. Away games is literally the shit. For some reason, away games, we just fucking click. Right? Home games, yeah, we beat Newcastle 4-1. But, I mean, like, our away form is ridiculous. I've never seen this before from Arsenal. Like, we just...
Well, you have never done this before. It's literally, in terms of the goals you've scored, Wenger's teams never did it. The 3 away wins on the bounce you've had, never been done before by your club. And this is why, look, by the way, you've played away from home against some crap teams before. So when any rivals that say it's because it's rubbish teams, well, why didn't world-class Arsenal teams in the past do this? Because it isn't that easy. It really isn't that easy to do what Arsenal have done. Maybe the Sheffield United game, because it's the third game on the bounce, have conceded these goals. But it isn't just like it happened today. This has been going on now for getting towards 2.5 months of this year. Dennis, another stellar performance. Who are the individuals that really stood out for you today?
Yeah, fantastic performance. I think, to be honest, the easiest game I've had in my lifetime as an Arsenal fan in the Premier League. I couldn't believe it. I mean, individuals-wise, I think you have to point towards Ødegaard. Martinelli, I thought, was really good as well. Hopefully, he's not out long term. I hope that was just like an impact injury and he's back into it. I'm just bemused at how bad Sheffield United were. Genuinely. Now, I know coming up against Arsenal is not an easy game, especially right now with the form we're in. But surely on the training ground, you go, we stop Ødegaard getting that football because he's the metronome. He's the one that makes everything click for us. But they didn't seem to do that. They just let Ødegaard have free roam all over the pitch. And he made them pay. Like, he was just drifting areas left, right, centre. And he was just pulling the strings all day, every day. And look, Sheffield United going down for an absolute fact. I'm delighted with the way we hit them from minute 1. Because I know it was an easy game, but it's all good saying it's an easy game. Going into this game, everyone's predicting high-scoring game for Arsenal. But we got the job done. And that was the absolute main thing. Long may it continue. We're in flow state right now. I heard the point the guy before me was saying that he doesn't see us dropping points. I think that's very easy to say right now, given the form we're in, but football changes very quickly. I mean, a few months ago, I didn't see us, we were in really good form. Then we lost to West Ham out of completely nowhere, then lost to Fulham again. So I think right now, just while we're in flow state, keep it going, man. Just everyone's on form. We're not getting injuries right now, knock wood. So keep going on form. The litmus test is Man City. The end of March is massive for us. Porto, Man City. We've got a big gap between those 2 games. We might even go away again. Might as well hit up Dubai again, get some more warm weather training, then come back for the Man City game. But yeah, that game's massive. Despite how we're playing right now, I would still take a point at the Etihad. I'll be completely honest. Because if we get 4 points this season against Liverpool and Man City, then for us, it's in our hands. It's in our hands at that point. Because we've already got 4 points against Liverpool this season. If we get even a point at the Etihad, that's it. That's our job done in my eyes. You deal with the rest of the games as it comes. So for me, I think we've done really well right now. This game was, again, fantastic. Goals from all areas. Long may it continue. Let's not get ahead of ourselves because it's only a good first 2 and 4 days month for the season or the calendar year so far. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from us. I'm liking how we're hitting form going towards the end of the season now, rather than last year where we're hitting form at the start of the season, then falling off. So we're building right now, which is really what I like to see.
What
Yeah,
I would say about that is that if we draw against Man City, there is still a slight chance that, and win all of our games apart from that Etihad game, there is still a chance that we don't win the league.
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, but at that point, you go, well done to them. At that point,
No,
if you
but
get at the start of the season, you said 4 points against Man City, 4 points against Liverpool. They're your two title challengers. Every Arsenal fan is snapping their hands.
Do you know what? Yeah, you're not gonna. Yeah, do you know? Again, it's easy for me to say this. I'm not an Arsenal fan. If you go away to the Etihad and get a point, and then you pretty much win every game for the remainder of the season, and one of the other two teams pips you to it, again, Standard FC will say that's failure. I don't think in the context of football that's one of those things where you're disappointed not to win. But it's like I said in my kind of opening monologue, this Arsenal team is here to stay. This Arsenal team, I don't see a big collapse to a point where most Arsenal fans are going to say sack the manager. I don't see your season ending in that way where you say this person is going to definitely make us better. Because all the managers in the world that you could genuinely say are better than Arteta, Arsenal can't get or are unavailable. So because they're unavailable. So I think you guys are going to be there or thereabouts. So I want to go to some of these super chats and throw them across to you guys on the panel this evening. This says Havertz has more open play goals than Palmer and Rashford. How many has he got now? How many has he got now? Is it 7?
5.
I know
I think it's 5 in the league.
And
No, it's 6.
7.
Oh, yeah.
No,
it's 6. 6.
Rashford's got 6. Rashford's got 6. But anyway, I'm not flexing Rashford's numbers this year because
Rashford got a penalty.
Did he? I don't remember. I just honestly don't care. I'm not. Yeah, look, Kai Havertz. I said this. I'm so annoyed with my class. I don't want to speak about it.
I don't care, bro.
I actually sit here with something Man United related on for the first time in years. My kids bought it for me. It's not from Man United though. It's from Art of Football, so they make no money out of it. I'm just putting it out there. But like Kai Havertz, I'm not saying he's turning into Zinedine Zidane. But he certainly starts to looking like a more influential and potent player for Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, I said something. I said something a few weeks back about on the terrace when I've come on here, and I said he's a Swiss Army knife. If you look at what's happened today, we played him up top, and then in the second half, when we brought on Jesus, when we brought on Trossard as well, he then moved into the 8, and he's a jack of all trades in terms of. He gives the manager some flexibility, and he's a body that can cover different roles. And I know there's a huge price tag being attached to Kai Havertz, and understandably with that comes expectation. However, if you look at what he gives the manager, which is versatility, and I think it's something that I've seen in both Arteta and Pep, they like players that can cover different positions. They very rarely sign a player that's just rigid to one position. They like players that are quite flexible and therefore can be utilised quite frequently throughout the squad. And I think that is exactly what Havertz is for Arteta and Arsenal.
He's physical as well. And he's tall. Yeah. He wins all of his duels as well.
Bro, he's very physical. He's very physical.
I think if we just look at this, yeah, what we're seeing now from Havertz, yeah, is he's becoming an Arsenal player. Yeah, he had to get out of that because I didn't want to believe it at first. I was like, bro, this guy looks legit broken. But as I'm seeing him just get reinstated with that Arsenal mindset of we have to play silky football, you have to be involved in the ball. You have to be involved in the football. You have to be involved in the build-up play. You have to be silky on the ball, and you have to pass very well. It's got to be nice and cool and composed. He's becoming an Arsenal player. We just need to get him to a level where he's an Arsenal player and he's competitive. Which I think at the moment he's on an upper trajectory, to be honest, for me.
Yeah, just to touch on that, his confidence is a massive thing in football. I mean, I've seen Papa Cisse come in at Newcastle and look like he's going to be some star striker for 6 months, and then confidence goes, and then he looks a shell of a player. And we've seen it. There's numerous examples when a player is confident, when a player is feeling himself. There is a different. You can see it, they have a different aura about them, and they feel wanted and they have that ability to express themselves. Whereas, at Chelsea, after, struggling for so long, both individually and the club as a whole, he came to us broken. He was a shell of the player that he was at Leverkusen. And slowly, as the season has kind of progressed, we're seeing a more accomplished player, more confident player. And if we can get him, feeling a more part of the squad, we can build up that confidence. There can, be better performances that come along with it and more contribution. So long may it continue.
Yeah, I mean, confidence is one thing. Another thing is players grow into a club culture. And that's why I like what Arteta has done. If the club culture was still horrible, regardless of the player, they're going to grow into that culture. Look at Aubameyang. Aubameyang was amazing when he first came to Arsenal, but his attitude began to change because the culture in the club was already dead. And what Arteta first did in the first 2 years was to reenact the connection with the fans, give us something to hope for. He won the FA Cup in his first 6 months, fine, with the team that we all hated so much, that Unai Emery built. He went on to win the Community Shield with that same ragged team, because I call them ragged. And then he took that same team and started bringing in his little pieces, right? And the fans began to see, like, look at how we're playing. And then comes last season where they said, Arsenal cannot make it into top 4. And here we were challenging for the title last season. So now he's created that new culture in the club. So anybody you bring into the club at that point in time, look, you can bring somebody who can be the most broken player. You most likely would get him up at least 20, 25%. Now, Kai Havertz is a brilliant player. Coming from Leverkusen, to look at what his career has been at 17 all the way till he got to Chelsea. The culture in Chelsea was what killed, or what literally shadowed that man. When he did join Arsenal, let's be honest, his first few games didn't pass the eye test, but his work rate, he was winning more deals than a lot of players on the pitch. But we didn't want to see that. We said, this is not why we bought you. But why? Because the past shadow of Chelsea's culture was covering everything that he was. So now he's growing into the Arsenal culture. There's Arsenal songs for you now. You're beginning to feel a part of a family, part of a team that wants to win something. I watched the Mikel Arteta interview, and he made a statement. He says, their bellies are empty. He says they're hungry. Their bellies are empty. You see, where I come from, when they say your belly is empty, it means that even if a lion shows up, you're not afraid to fight it because you have to eat. And that's the way I feel about this club right now. I've been watching Arsenal since like Kanu Nwankwo, because I'm Nigerian and he played for Arsenal, and way before that. And I've just seen how the club has gone from here to there. From here all the way down. And I'm like, we're going back to the top.
And he's only a handful of, listen, I mean, there's a lot more to footballers than goals. I understand that, but he's on 7 in the Prem, 8 in all competitions. That season before he joined Chelsea, when everyone was raving about him, I think he got 12 goals in the Bundesliga. He could, it's not inconceivable that he scores another 6 or 7 more goals this year for you. And then suddenly it's his best goal scoring season in his career. And if that ends up, if those goals, and he's had a couple of really important goals and winners, he has a few more of that to the mix. And for year one, remember, a player doesn't have to repay their price tag in 1 year. For year one, it's not a bad return on investment for a player that was so maligned.
Yeah, and he's just 24. He's just 24.
Exactly.
I think we forget that. Everybody's like, Kai Havertz, we're thinking 27, 28 when you hear it. And when you look at him, because he's a big man, he's just 24.
I mean, I think understandably there was going to be some sort of reservations from fan bases, because naturally you want to sign a player who you don't feel like you need to fix, right? You want to sign someone who comes into your squad and actively just improves it from the get-go. So I think the reservations from Arsenal fans is, why are we signing this player who for 3 seasons at Chelsea has looked like a dud, right? And we're trying to push him for a title. So I think,
yeah,
understandably, there's reservations going to be there. Like, you could sign a already confident.
And I do get that, but sometimes, like, my club right now is dying, but there are players in our squad that people are laughing at that will sign for other clubs and do a good job, because these things are what's going on. And sometimes I understand that Arsenal fans want it now, that need for instant gratification. I want to win the league now. Let's go and buy someone that's ready. But if a manager, and I don't think Arteta's record when it comes to his bigger signings is as bad as some people make out. I think the players that you spent the bulk of your money on, of all, even like Fabio Vieira is still one where I think with the amount he cost you, there's still a question mark there. But sometimes the signings, there's more to them. Maybe he wanted someone that had that versatility that can play 2 or 3 roles. And yes, there could be someone that's ready to come in and make a bigger impact, but he plays one position, and maybe you need more than that. Let's do some more of these super chats here. This says, I can't stand Arsenal, but the one thing they do better than the other two teams is they give you no air to breathe during the game. Complete domination on both sides of the pitch. Yeah, Joshua Jack, you're spot on, mate. And I'm saying
only what we started to do this season. We never started to do that last season, I don't think. Like,
no, I think you did.
Just hang back.
But you were a little. But last season you were a little bit more vulnerable to counter attacks, etc. This year, since Declan Rice has joined, I think it's made that kind of that triangle with him and your two centre backs.
Ain't nothing getting past.
Takes the piss.
I think we're more cold-blooded as well this season. I feel like last year, I like Ramsdale, make no mistake about it. But one thing about Raya, that brother's on business, man. Like, he's none this like jumping around and anything like a clown or any fist pumping on that stuff, bro. He's just on business. Even at like 6-0 up, he's throwing the ball out quickly, getting things going. So I just think the team overall is more locked in right now, which is a good sign. Because I think last year it was a bit more frantic at times. Like even the Bournemouth game, we're 2-0 down, we're chasing the game. Whereas this year, there's much more structure to us. Like our transitions, good, as you said, Terry, Declan Rice, superb, brings more solidity. The back two are brilliant as well. We're having a more. I think, bro, Benin Zinchenko was the best thing we ever did. Sell that guy in the summer, man. I told you a lot about Zinchenko. Ben White's doing a better job than Zinchenko, and he can defend because Ben White's inverting into midfield, but that's all he's doing. And I like that. He's doing three things. Right back, overlap, inversion.
I think like you need different players for different games, right? So I think Zinchenko low blocks is a good player, right? I'm not hearing low blocks. But it does. I wouldn't play Zinchenko against the bigger teams. I wouldn't play Zinchenko against, like we've seen him get torn up by Mo Salah and whatnot. But there are games where he can do a job. You can't just have the same player and have different versions. And we've got Tomiyasu, we've got Kiwior, we've got all these we've got these same profile type of defenders. So it's always good to have something different because that gives you more variety and more tools to your arsenal.
Yeah, I get that, but Zinchenko, for me, the brother, he cannot defend. I'm not having a guy in my team that plays defense that cannot defend. Like, we beat Sheffield United today 6-0. We beat West Ham 6-0. We beat Burnley 5-0. Liverpool 3-1 without Zinchenko. Zinchenko and the team, we might still win these games, but we might win 3-1 because he loses the ball.
But you see, but you also have to realize, right? Just because he can't defend, what he brings to the team is very different. And what makes you think if we had played Zinchenko in this games where we actually had picked up pace like this, probably we could have scored 10 today. So if Zinchenko played today and we scored 10, would you say Zinchenko was the reason we had 4 extra goals, or the reason we were not able to make it 9? Like, to be fair, when we play against D block teams, we need him. Like, he inverts better than Ben White.
Zinchenko's in the team. Every single team is going to target Zinchenko, bro. If Zinchenko's at left back, every team knows go on the right, target him. If you look, me, I would love Timber back in the team. When Timber's back, that back four's solid, man. There's not really a weak point. If you look at Man City, who is their weak point? Where do you attack Man City? You don't. But here's attack Arsenal on that side.
But here's the thing that you need to realize: we're not Man City, we're not Liverpool, and we're never going to be Man City or Liverpool. And I think what Arteta is doing is Arteta is having players for different types of situations, because there are certain games they're going to play where in the second half you need a Zinchenko for 30 minutes to just do what he does best. Right? And you get your goals, get him off the pitch, get him driving through those channels, releasing the balls to the players. We're good at set pieces now. People complained about our set piece just recently. Oh, the scoring is not sustainable, but it's part of the tools that you need. You can't have the same style of play as Timber, the way Timber plays, and then the way Ben White plays, and just have that same style. Once you get found out, they'll know how to pass those players. No matter how good defensive you are, once you have faster wingers coming at them, you're going to have the same problem. So having different tools, whereby in between the game, remember when he said he wouldn't even mind changing a goalkeeper in the middle of the game if there is a reason for it. If you're playing a game where it sounds crazy. No. It sounds let's be honest, it sounds crazy, but the game is changing. In the last 10 years, we've seen this game change massively. It's gone from the times where we had players, it was like, okay, the big man scorers, the Didier Drogbas, drop the ball in there, turn around and shoot. How many people are turning around and shooting right now?
Let me
see what I'm saying. So it's changed.
Let me just touch on that Zinchenko thing, because also when he was at City, I think it was the final game in the season against Villa, right? When he came on and he made a contribution, right? So there's little things that you also have to look at. Like, don't get me wrong, he's made me want to, pull whatever little hair out I've got left here, but can contribute in certain moments. I remember, I think, was it Burnley where he helped. He scored a nice volley that game. There are games where you need these players to come up and think. Ben White has done well inverting, but he's not as comfortable in the pockets as Zinchenko is. He's not a natural progressor between the lines like a Zinchenko. And it's all well and good. We don't have to use them week in, week out. And the best teams have a good squad that give them a variety of options. And that's where we need to be to, sustain competing at the top level, in the league, Champions League. And his experience is also something that we lacked in Europe against Porto. We don't have too many players who have been there and done that. It's a very young Arsenal team. So we also
great points being raised there, guys. And look, viewers, I'd love to get your take on that there. AA here with an amazing donation. Thank you. He says, first team in Premier League history to score 5+ goals in 3 consecutive away matches.
I don't think that's ever getting broken. I do not see that ever getting broken, to be honest. That's a ridiculous stat.
I mean, that's a fair point, Matt, because the Premier League's been around for 30+ years and it hasn't happened before. So it's the likelihood of that. I mean, if you went, who's your next away game against? City. Oh yeah, you're not going to do you're not doing 4 on a bounce, are you? But yeah, like I was about to. Yeah, depends who it is.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Well, I did say this yesterday when watching United against City. We only had 2 shots on goal. But I made a list on my notes on my iPhone right here, as you can see, of all the counter-attack opportunities that we had. And that was, I listed the number and then the minute and then what went wrong. And the amount of times it was Scott McTominay undercooked the pass, or Rashford's first touch was bad, or Garnacho didn't make the pass early enough. Where I look at Arsenal, and I think you'll get more than 10 opportunities to counter-attack against them because you're a better team. You'll win the ball back more. And I think you're more clinical than we are. You've got more cutting edge than we have. So I think that you're not going to score 5+ goals, in my personal opinion. I don't see that happening. But you've got such a chance against City. City fans don't think they'll afford you the same counterattacks they've afforded everybody else. They think that they're going to sit back a bit deeper against you. But if they do it and they let you play, that's also dangerous. So yeah, look, I'm really looking forward to that game as a neutral. Carragher, this is funny. Carragher asking Odegaard where the camera is. Odegaard responds with, Nash, I went straight down the tunnel. Class. Carragher, Harold here says, just realised Arsenal scored 6 goals less since January than we have. Man United have scored this whole season. A draw between City and Liverpool, and Arsenal win the league is what Harold thinks here. It's still a long way to go after that game. I mean, if City and Liverpool draw and then you go and beat City,
I think that's massive.
I think that's big. That's in the way that we're in right now.
Like, I saw a fixture list. We got big games, man. Like, yeah, you beat City. Yeah. You got Brighton. You got United away. I know you're looking at away. They're tough games.
No, don't do that. Phil. Don't do that.
Yeah, but we also got a squad like getting fit at the moment, right?
Old Trafford, something crazy, bro.
Yeah. Do you want to geek? Let me geek out for like a second right here. I did a calculation, right? There's three permutations for all the games we need to play. It's either win, draw, or lose. And if it's a win, it's 3 points. Draw, it's 1 point. Lose, we don't get any points, right? So the way it goes for the next 11 games, this sounds crazy. I ran it in ChatGPT. I did a whole lot of mathematical calculations. The chances of Arsenal, Liverpool, or City winning, if Liverpool, which is one of the options, if Liverpool and City draw, the chance of Arsenal winning goes up by another 10% if they draw.
Yes,
and that's massive. So you need to realize that's huge. Now, if City wins that game, the chances of Arsenal winning the league, based on the mathematical calculation, it drops by 6%. So we have 4% chance. Mm-hmm. So you have to realize that it's like when you look at it from that perspective, just geeking out and calculating.
Yeah. Because again, the probability is such an. I don't understand it deeply enough to be able to explain it. So I'm not going to try and act like I know. But probability. So as you say, if they draw this weekend, then you go and beat City, the chances of Arsenal winning the league grow massively because of those 2 results. And yes, there are still big games remaining, but it's then the pressure it puts on both, and it being a 3-horse race. And listen, I'm going to throw it out there, potentially even four if Villa win the next 2 or 3 games on the bounce. And what I mean by that is a team that's just there. When there's so many teams that are running at the same time, it's a different type of pressure. It's a different type of pressure because if you need 2 teams to mess up if you're behind. If suddenly City or Liverpool are behind both of you and there's 5-6 games to go, it's the pressure on them to win changes, because it isn't just that they've got to win. They've got that Arsenal and City both lose. And mathematically, the chances of Arsenal losing and City losing at the same time and you winning are much smaller than just in a 2-horse race. So, yeah, it's going to be amazing, this run, and it's going to be great. Who put the ball in Sheffield's net? Half the bloody team did, is what Luke Skywalker says here. Big up yourself. 5s and 6s is beyond incredible and won't last forever. We have the quality to win it, but it's whether we can do it at the Etihad, Old Trafford, etc. Don't worry about Old Trafford. Easy ground for everybody this year, brother. Easy pickings at Old Trafford.
It's not. There's something about that ground, man.
If there's 2 games left, right, and Arsenal can win the league, and to stop City and Liverpool doing it, what's the chance of Man United doing a little bit of a jinky majinky?
Professionals don't do it. And I know there are some Man United fans, especially the Southern Man United fans, that don't want Arsenal to win it. But to stop City doing a 4-peat, that matters more to me, by the way, than stopping Liverpool. Stopping that 4-peat, I just can't express enough how that's important to all of us, not just for you, because it's records. You know, it's like if somebody did like an invincible, but did it with 20 more points than you, that would hurt. If they did something, if they did an invincible, similar points, similar ratio, it wouldn't matter. If they did a better version of what you've done, like we've done 2 3-peats, if they can do a 4-peat, it's just, I can't, man. It's killing me. As an Arsenal fan, I felt bad for Sheffield United. 3 goals in the first 15 minutes is a madness. Arteta wanted to make a point. Yeah, they were leaving really early, weren't they? Too much celebrating happiness on the panel. It's a disgracia. Go find a tunnel and get inside it ASAP, is what Guna Duke says. We ain't quite there yet, but likely invincibles. But imagine if we could add players of the ilk of Sanchez on the left and Suarez up top to this team.
Man. I love those 2 players. Sanchez. Bro, Sanchez. The dopamine I got from watching Sanchez was crazy, man.
Him and Ozil, bro. Him and Ozil, that connection.
Ozil I like, but Sanchez for me was just something else, bro. Like every game, I used to model like playing off Sanchez. Like,
do you know what's mad? Like, when we signed Sanchez from you, I was so excited because of what he'd done for you guys. That's probably one of my biggest disappointments in terms of, because he had everything. It was what he did, but he's proven. He's done it here. This has got to work. That fucking piano upset the football gods. I'm telling you. Terry, I remember you
the team, you know, signing a superstar to take this team forward. I don't feel like we've got enough of those type of players that give us like moments. We haven't got those moments players yet. When you look at City, when you look at Liverpool, they've got players like Salah, you know, KDBs, Haaland's, world-class players that give them the moments for cup competitions, Europe, etc. I think that's probably the next
phase.
I don't want to use that word.
I hear you, boys.
Move forward.
Peace World here says, Terry, I remember you and KJ bantering, asking if we were back after a win when we were 8th. We're back. Yeah, it's funny you say that, Peace World, because a lot of people think all I do is praise Arsenal. Go back 3 years and see what I'm saying about Arsenal.
Tell used to be from me as a long-term viewer. Tell used to be a prick. When he talk about Arsenal, he used to be a prick about it.
Now looking back with hindsight, how right was I about your club, generally speaking?
No, you were. But the thing is, the change now, people think that he's just listen, this guy right here is one of the most objective.
I'm gonna call out a lot of YouTubers without saying their names. Last year, every YouTuber around with DMing me, why are you saying Arsenal was scary? Why would you praise rival? I'm like, well, I've always done this. You just haven't noticed because Arsenal hurts your feelings. Now, all these sons of bitches are using words like Arsenal were amazing, Arsenal were scary, doing shock picks like this. I'm like, you man were telling me to stop doing that because this is what they would do to me. We ain't scared, bruv. We ain't scared. When a man does that, that means he's fucking shook as hell. That means he's proper. Like, now they're all doing it. I'm like, oh, well, you know, and I had the audacity of one of my haters said to me, Terry, what have you ever innovated in the YouTube world? I was like, well, let's just ignore the fact that I did the first ever watch along. I just didn't enjoy doing them. There's just that. Arsenal being scary or praising rivals is my thing. I'm just going to claim it. I don't care if it ain't even true. Big up, lads. Big up, lads. Terry, it's week 37. Arsenal are 4 points clear at the top of the table. A win will seal the title. How do you feel about Arsenal winning the title at Old Trafford again? Look, on a real level, it will hurt. but it will stop the 4-peat. And I stand by this. The 4-peat being stopped is more important than taking some banter for you winning the league at Old Trafford, because that actually means more to you than it does to me. For me,
Man
what's
City,
important,
though.
no,
And at the moment, they don't feel like you've got anything to play for, like top 4
yeah,
races.
yeah.
Kind of,
It's not stopped.
like-
When you did it before, we were in the title race. Like we were a team up there with you. For me, City doing the 4-peat is far more damaging than anything else any other team can do this year, because it would be a record, in my opinion, that no one else is ever going to do in my lifetime. And the way I view football, when it comes to the brass tacks of it, it's about trophies and records. And the records is in the trophies you win and how you win them. And I don't want any of my rivals having records that I haven't got or can't achieve.
Especially
so for
City.
Me,
Especially City for you when you're
Especially-
Manchester United.
but yes,
They would rub it in your face.
Like when Liverpool were looking like they were going to do the quad. If Liverpool would have done the quad, it's almost, and this is why I feel like I had credibility last year when I said I am well done City for doing the treble, but people were trying to tell me it takes away from my treble, which I don't think it does. And I know that because I know how I feel about it. I said the same thing about Liverpool's quad. If Liverpool did the quad first, it doesn't matter if I'd have to do 2 to better it. And is that ever fucking happening with or I die? No, it isn't. So I just think people are mad when it comes to petty stuff because of what a gal might do on Twitter. No, I don't ask to win the league. I care more about what things are going to matter in 20, 50, 100 years' time when it comes to our clubs. But that's just me.
Let's be honest though, if Man City win the title for the next 10 seasons, they still will never be a bigger club than Manchester United. Let's be real about it.
No, well,
you can't replace certain things.
No, probably not in the next 10 years. It would probably
ever.
take long.
Like I know your lifetime same one thing, but even my lifetime, Man City will never ever be a bigger club than Manchester United. Manchester United,
you know what though?
Arsenal are 3 historic
disagree
clubs.
with that, because I'm an Arsenal fan. I grew up watching Chelsea be shit, right? Earlier on, right before Abramovich came in. And then obviously the tables turned, and then it became a closer conversation between Chelsea and Arsenal. So
it's not close between Chelsea and Arsenal. I don't like.
It's become a closer conversation, right? You can't. It's not saying you're saying it's not close. That's the thing, but it's a closer conversation. People can debate it because they've got Champions Leagues. We haven't got Champions Leagues. Let's be completely objective about this.
Hold on. I really want to. You see, so this whole Europe thing, like let's be honest. Like, so the Champions League did not officially start till 1994, if I'm not mistaken. Like this current Champions League. Yeah, this current Champions League. Before that, it was the Cup Winners' Cup. Arsenal has won the Cup Winners' Cup, and we won the European Fair Tour in 1970.
The European Cup, the Champions League has always existed. It just they added the group
I know,
stage.
Terry. So Terry, I know that, but what I'm saying is when people talk about Real Madrid, they talk about Champions League and all the ones they won before that, at the time when it became the Champions League. When they talk about the trophies that they have, they talk about it from beginning to end. They say, "Oh, Madrid has 13." Right? It's the same way when we talk about how many trophies does Manchester United have. Manchester United has 20, if I'm not mistaken. You have 20, but 13 of those are in the Barclays Premiership era.
I understand that. Yeah, the Arsenal have no European heritage. The Cup Winners' Cup was a massive competition when Arsenal won it, and that is very true.
So
and
when people talk about
it was Fergie's won it twice, and so I wouldn't discredit Arsenal from having it, because that would mean I'd take away 2 of my manager's biggest trophies. I got Hamza on that on Sunday when he came on and was saying Saka only scores penalties and tap-ins, and I'm like, well, how many of so what does that do for if they're not real goals in your mind, Hamza? What does that do for Haaland's totals? Because again, you sometimes got to be careful how you try and banter, or because you take away from your own club. But
you see the Cup Winners' Cup, Terry, wasn't that a second rate? Wasn't that the second rate?
No, it wasn't. It was the European Cup was always the European Cup, but you used to have to win your league to get into it.
Yes.
So if you think now, if you actually look over the last 30 years, so many teams have come second, third, and fourth in their league and then gone on to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
The quality of teams actually was more spread out back in the day. You actually had, in this era, French teams were winning the major European trophies, Dutch teams, Scottish teams were in it. So you could have a team that came third in Scotland in the 1980s and the 1990s that was good enough to win the European Cup, but they just weren't in it. So these teams were spread between the UEFA Cup, the Cup Winners' Cup, and the Champions League. But all 3 were viewed as huge. Now, the European Cup was the most prestigious, but the difference between them wasn't like it is now, where one has all the money and the fame and the attention, and the others are like footnotes. They were all really big. up until really the new Champions League format and all the money went towards them, and they got rid of the Cup Winners' Cup, and it was so they were big back then for some reason.
Because I grew up, I grew up watching those.
I grew up watching those.
You know,
it doesn't.
I grew up watching those, and what hurts me the most is when people when we speak about these things, it's because if we're going to only talk about the current state, even now when I hear people say, "Oh, Liverpool knows how to win." Knows how to win? How? They've come second twice, they've come third once, and fourth once in the last 6 years, and won it once in the last 6 years. And their first one in 30 years. Like, it's not like they've been second all the time. Man City has been winning. In fact, Manchester United was second at a point in time. Chelsea won in 2017, 2018. So when we say they know how to win, please explain to me in the last 7 years how they really know how to win this EPL. Like, explain it to me. Mathematically, it doesn't check out. It's just because of the eye test and because we want to create the club and Pep rivalry. And I get that. I totally understand that. But to say they know how to win it, then what do you say about teams that have won it 3-4 times already in the past? If you want to talk about teams that know how to win it, Manchester United know how to win it. They may not have won it in the last few years, but they know how to win it because they've won it multiple times. In fact, Chelsea knows how to win it more than Liverpool. Man City knows how to win it more than Liverpool. Arsenal have 3. We know how to win it more than them. They have 1. So when people talk about it, I'm just like, explain this, No, we're talking just EPL. Like
20 years ago we won it. That's what I'm saying.
I know, but you can say 20 years ago. The point is the EPL, this trophy that we're still fighting for now is the same trophy 20 years ago. It's not changed. It's not a different trophy.
Team has changed. Our manager's changed.
I'm saying the trophy. I'm saying the trophy though. The trophy is the trophy.
Yeah.
Then you can say 1936. We won it with Herbert.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Premiership, just the Premiership season, the Premiership, the Barclays Premiership. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like.
They've ran City close, right? A few times. Lost the league by a point, was it twice, right? If I'm not mistaken. So that kind of compensation and the amount of points they amassed, right, shows you that in most seasons they're a team that are at a level that are close to winning the league and that would win most leagues, would win the league in different years. And so it's that gives Liverpool that title where you can sit back and objectively say they kind of know how to win a league because they've amassed a points total which would win the league most years. And if it wasn't for them coming up against such a great City side, it would probably have won them the league. So
can we say the same about Arsenal last year? That we also know how to win.
The thing is, though, with the points totals, is City. I ain't taking anything away from the points totals that you guys got last year and Liverpool and City you've got. But what's changed in football is squads have become much deeper and much thicker. Money in England's got to a point now where we take so much more quality from across Europe here than we used to. So it changes the complexity of it. And on top of that, City started getting loads of points, and then teams kind of follow suit. People raise their game. This is what happens in sport, generally speaking. The standards kind of get pushed up higher and higher. But that's because everybody just stands upon the shoulders of what came before them. But this year, you'll probably find that the league's going to be one with less points. But it doesn't mean your team isn't as good as a side that wins it with high 90s. The reason there's likely to be less points is that there's 3 teams in the title race. There's 3 teams at the top, which means you're going to take points off each other. And then you've got 2 or 3 teams underneath that are of a good level this year. So again, there's going to be more points being taken away. So it's a hard one to judge. This year says, big up my guy. I got one question. Why are stadiums empty everywhere we go? Come on, you gooners. Big up Terry, my guy. Thank you. Liverpool are going to drop points. They might run out of steam. Plus injuries are happening to them now, similar to what happened to us last season. Bro, they just won 4 games in 11 days with kids playing. I wouldn't. Yeah, Spurs and Villa are deciding the title. They could have a big say in it. Those teams, they really could. They really could.
Fans, yeah? I do want to ask. So, if it's not a draw on the weekend, would you rather Liverpool win or City win? Because I would still rather Liverpool win than City. Because I still think Liverpool. I watched us play Liverpool at the Emirates, and I thought we were a much better team than Liverpool. And I think we've proven that we are a better team than Liverpool. I think Liverpool have got more assassins and they can win games through the quality, individual quality. But I think as a team, we're a better team than Liverpool. That's my personal opinion on it. So I would rather they beat City than City beat them. I'd still rather a draw because I still think that Liverpool they're more likely to drop points in the run-in than City are. That's just my thoughts.
I think mathematically I'd say City because if we beat City, it's in our hands, right? So therefore it just changes the whole outcome. So for me, from that perspective of we can control our own destiny, I'll take it. I'd rather that than be watching Liverpool week to week and expecting them to drop points and hoping and praying. because somehow when you think Liverpool are about to drop points, they find a way to win.
Get a 90-minute
and then obviously their injury problems are probably gonna. You're not expecting it to continue throughout the end of the season. Salah's gonna come back, Trent will come back, and then they might have a better push. So if they don't drop points now, I'd be less inclined.
But
I'd rather Liverpool drop points. I'd rather Liverpool drop points because we're 1 point behind City. So if City and us eventually meet up and we can beat City, then we can leapfrog them as well. But I'd rather the number 2 and 3 gang up and kill number 1, and let's eliminate them totally out of it. Remove them out of the link. And then let 2 of us go. Because it's 1 point between us and them on the last day. Yeah.
Guys, I want to thank you all for coming on. I want to thank all of our viewers. Please go and check out The Squad, my brand new channel, my brand new podcast. Scan the QR code, click on the link in our description below. Thank you to all the super chatters and everyone that's tuned in. Amazing numbers as always. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.